All right, guys. So we're gonna get straight into it. Today is Tuesday. I believe it is October 14th. Yeah, it's Tuesday, October 14th. We about to hop straight into the trade review. So this is what we're looking at. Okay, boom. I'm sorry, y'all. So coming into Tuesday, this is the 2 o'clock candle. So on a 4 hour time frame, we're gonna start this shit up. On a 4 hour time frame coming into Tuesday, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing price is going toward the downside and we got bearish structure. Is my bias 100% bearish? No. The reason why my bias isn't 100% bearish is because I'm paying attention to what's happening at with this candle. It's a weird ass candle, but I'm seeing how price came all the way down and took out all of this sell side liquidity that was resting right here. Right, it filled in this gap that was open, and it gave us some liquidity support. So price comes out of this liquidity support. It opens up on Monday, right, and it continues to go up, go up, go up. But one thing that I'm noticing is that okay, we're in somewhat of an imbalance right here, right? See, price started rejecting off of these previous month high, previous day high, and it started giving us some resistance, and then it started giving us some bullish reaction at the previous day low, right? So this is everything that I'm noticing on a 4 hour time frame. So I am bearish on the day, but I notice how price is giving me a bullish reaction right here at this previous day low, and this is on a 4 hour time frame. So I'm like, okay, price isn't closing below this low. It isn't closing below this level of liquidity with displacement. So price could want to give us some type of bullish reaction and take out all the internal liquidity right here and all of the buy side liquidity that's resting up here, right? So I'm on my 1 hour time frame, and we're just gonna go look at the 8 o'clock. Right. One thing that I'm seeing on my hourly time frame is that we have a bullish fair value gap sitting right here, right, and then we also have a bearish fair value gap right here on the hourly time frame. So we're in between these two PD arrays, and I want to make sure I'm taking my most high quality setup. All right. So while I'm on the hourly time frame, we're gonna go down to the 15-minute real quick. All right, and we want to mark up Asia's highs, of course. We want to mark up Asia's highs. We want to mark up Asia's lows, right? And then we got London's highs right here. And then we have London's lows resting below. Okay, so cool. We got Asia's high, we got Asia low, London high, London low. One thing that we can see, Asia's lows were already swept during London session, right? So let's see what 9 o'clock go ahead and open and do. Oh, fuck no. 9:15. Okay, so this is the 9:30 candle opening. So once 9:30 opens, what am I noticing? And I got this shit recorded live so you guys can really, really get a good understanding. And on Forex Factory, one thing I also want to notice is that we also didn't have any news at 10. We didn't have any major news today. So it was a day where I was looking to get into the macro a little bit early and a little bit more aggressively, but I didn't see any setups early on, and I was kind of unsure whether or not the price wanted to continue to seek draws on liquidity right here, or whether it wanted to seek draws on liquidity toward London's highs. Okay, so going into the actual session, I was definitely seeing things lined up for a sale. Right, I saw price. We broke through liquidity at London's lows. Right, we broke through liquidity at Asia's lows. Right, but one thing I wanted to take notice of is how are we closing outside of this hourly bullish fair value gap? Are we closing outside of this fair value gap with strong displacement, or are we closing like with some type of bullish wick at the bottom, right? So we can see right here at this 9:30 candle, we close right here. Well, right here, see at the top of this previous displacement candle, price is wicking right there. So that's letting me know that okay, we have liquidity that was swept, and price isn't closing below that liquidity with strong displacement. So price may have wanted to just fill in this bullish fair value gap, even though it didn't give us a good bullish reaction at the consequent encroachment. We had liquidity all the way at the bottom of it, so it just did a 2-for-1 special where it filled in this gap and took the liquidity from London's lows and yesterday's lows at the same time. Now, with my understanding and my expertise on price action in the market, my mindset at 9:30, once I'm seeing this opening, is price going to give me some type of bearish fair value gap to enter off of so I can take a sell? because according to my confluences at the 9:30 opening, before we even get into my macro, I already have a breaking structure toward the downside, right? I'm giving y'all a full breakdown in the thought process of this trade, because these was one of the ones that was like you had to be really, really locked in and focused to take advantage of it, right? So I got my breaking structure to the downside right here, right? I got bearish displacement, which is completely obvious that took place, right? I had that bearish displacement, running super liquidity, breaking structure, displacement. So now all I was waiting on was a valid break and recess of a key level to try and take shorts, right? But this is one thing I wanted to take notice of. Okay, so this is the 945 candle. So I'm seeing the 945 candle. At this very moment, I have shorts lined up. I got shorts lined up. I want to take a short right here with like a 30-point stop loss, so like maybe above this, but I didn't like the stop loss placement. So my original entry was like something like this. Stop loss at the top of that fair value gap with a 30-point stop loss entry right here on the top of that fair value gap. This was my original setup, right? But I'm gonna show y'all why I didn't wind up getting in and taking that. So after we swept this liquidity at 942, 945, we had this bearish fair value gap. Boom. On a 1 minute, I'm pretty sure it formed as a 1 minute. On a 1 minute, I'm sure it formed as a bearish fair value gap. Okay, cool. So boom, we inverse this 1 minute bearish fair value gap. Boom, we inverse that other fair value gap. Right now, right here, this 945, we're creating a bullish fair value gap. You could have really gotten in right there, right? But we trade the 3 minute because we want to be a little bit more precise. So on my 1 minute chart, I'm seeing that we're inversing bullish fair value gaps. On my 3 minute chart, I got some manipulation that formed, right? So price is manipulating right here. We're having a engulfing, right? A bullish engulfing reaction coming straight off of a liquidity sweep, right? After I see that, I'm like, okay, cool. It's a possibility that price will want to reverse, but I got to see how is price going to react at these bearish fair value gaps up here, right? So we waiting. We're not FOMOing into any sales. Once I see price come and give us that other engulfing right here, now I consider myself to start switching biases. And if you watch my live video, you guys can see exactly when I say it. Because I was in for shorts, but being that I want to take the first fair value gap that forms after a liquidity sweep during the macro. Now on the 1 minute, right, it had already happened. I want to start taking my trades at 945, right? So boom, this is 944. It's 945. Okay, so now the macro started. So I guess that's not really, you could take that, but it really wasn't a good sweep back toward the upside. But it still was the first fair value gap that happened after a liquidity run. So this liquidity run, this is the first fair value gap that formed right here after we broke above this liquidity. So this is the first fair value gap that formed after a liquidity sweep during the macro, because we ran back above this level of liquidity, created a fair value gap. And this is your first entry right here, right? Right here at this one right here. I don't think price ever came back down and tapped into it, or did it? Okay. Boom. Price taps into it. You really could have got your entry right there at 950. That's advanced shit, y'all. So I'm going to go back to the 3 minute. I just like putting it all out there at once. So now we back on the 3 minute chart. We're not trading that 1 minute chart. If you did, kudos to you. But if you're still on the 3 minute and you're waiting and being more patient, that's fine as well. So after we see this liquidity sweep on the previous day low, right, and then we see this bullish displacement, now we're looking like, okay, I got a short setup that's lining up, right? But this setup was already pretty much cooking before my macro session started. Now I'm seeing another session. I'm seeing another trade, another setup line up, but all of these confluence form freshly during my macro. So with this forming fresh during my macro, I'm more prone to take this setup than the previous one, especially with my understanding of the fact that we filled in all of this gap. We filled in all of these gap, and we're not closing below it with displacement. And then we're sweeping liquidity and shifting back towards the upside. So it's letting me know that this was probably just 9 times out of 10 a liquidity grab. The amount of liquidity that we got below is only like one major key level, and it's a lot of points below versus us having some draws on liquidity toward the upside right here being at London's highs. So I'm like, okay, which way does it make sense for price to go more? I switched my bias to go long here because I had all three of my confluences except for a break and retest of a valid key level, right? So now I got that. I see you could have gotten in aggressively and taken your shorts right there, but this is why I always wait on a break of candle, because as this candle comes, let me go back. As this candle comes and fills in this bearish fair value gap, right, it leaves another bullish fair value gap behind. So at this point, I'm like, okay, cool. If I see a bearish break out of this fair value gap, if I see some bearish momentum out of this with a lot of displacement, then I can start looking for shorts. But if we inverse this bearish fair value gap and retest it, I want to start looking for longs. That's my exact mindset. What winds up happening, all right, it gives another fair value gap. We never get a retest on that one right there, right? So price is just, and if you watch me trade this 3-minute chart, you'll see it. Price is just steadily bullish, bullish, bullish. I never get a pullback on the 3-minute. Now I get some on the 1-minute, but I'm not that confident taking it because I don't really have any news that's making me like feel like it's gonna be a really good catalyst to push the market if I take a risky 1-minute setup. So I'm just watching the price shoot up, shoot up, shoot up, all bullish candles. And I told my guy Troy that I was trading with, shout out Troy, I was like, I gotta wait on some type of play action. Y'all know my play action is basically a pullback. So boom, I finally get my pullback right here. And being that I didn't get into my sell setup aggressively, being that I said I was gonna wait for a break outside of that bearish fair value gap, it avoided me from getting into this sell too early. And from me not getting into that sell too early, I was able to wait for this bearish fair value gap to get inverse, right, and it turned into a bullish fair value gap. Once this turned into, well, it turned into an inverse bullish fair value gap. Once that happened and I got a retest off of it, I could have gotten in long right there, right? I told you I switched my bias up. So I could have gotten in long right here aggressively on a break and retest of this inverse fair value gap, but I still wasn't 100% sure if price was going to respect this level of supply right here. I wasn't sure if price was going to respect that or not, right? If we was going to come out of that with some type of bearish momentum. So I didn't just want to get in aggressively, right? And we can move Asia's because that was already swept. I'm not trying to confuse y'all too much, right? So now my entry is like this. All right, I'm gonna do 30 points. It's gonna be below the previous play action, below that manipulation, and then my draws on liquidity is going to be towards London's highs, right? I want to put my trade management, of course. I'm gonna put my original stop loss right here. I'm going to put my break even right here, of course. I'm also going to cut my stops in half right here, right? So boom, that's how that would have went. And then of course, y'all know I really don't like staying in trades no longer than 90 points, just on some greed shit. Like I just really be feeling like if you can catch 90 points consistently every day, like it's no need for you to be tripping. Like it's really not. It's really not. I left a lot of points on the table today, but that's what come with trading, bro. That's just what come with trading. So yeah, I'm hoping this is really making sense on the breakdown, and it's also explaining entries as well. I'm sorry about the beginning of it being kind of messed up with me looking at the wrong day and shit. All right, so this will be the trade management, and this was my trade basically. So we got in on a break and retest of a bearish inverse fair value gap, or bullish inverse fair value, however you want to say it. That bearish fair value gap got inverse. We broke and retested it. I got my play action, my break of candle entry. I'm in right here. This is as soon as I got my entry at like 10:13, 10:14, right? As soon as my target hit 1-to-1, I'm not gonna lie, I went ahead and closed some profit just because I didn't know what to expect at this supply level. Right, I closed some profit. I wound up closing at a 1-to-3, but I got in so small, I only closed out with like a $500 profit. It should have been like an $1,800, but like I said, I was out of whack. I was out of position today. I wasn't at my desk, and that's the setup that I just wound up taking. So yeah, that's basically was my setup for the day, and that was my thought process behind taking my setup for the day. I feel like it was very, very pivotal for me to go over these things because that short setup looked beautiful. The original short setup, it looked beautiful. It looked like a good setup to take, right? It definitely looked like a good setup to take, but we did not take that setup because we wanted to wait and react and see. Hold on, y'all. All right, we wanted to wait and react and see, was this bearish fair value gap going to hold, right? I'm gonna go back and show y'all one more time. See this fair value gap? That's the whole process of waiting, just waiting and reacting. Are we gonna get some bearish momentum out of there? We never got some solid bearish momentum outside of the fair value gap before it was closed above. So that's what was my confirmation. See how we still not closing below it? Why aren't we respecting the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap? Right? Okay, that's telling me that buyers are in. What else am I noticing? Where are my EMAs? Okay, so I see my EMAs above. Let me see what happens. Okay, boom. Respecting the EMA right here. Respecting the EMA right here. Respecting it. Okay, we still respecting it. All right, now, are we going to break above this EMA? Once we break above that EMA, that's also more confirmation that, okay, buyers are in, right? So if this would have held, if we would have got a bearish reaction right here inside of this fair value gap, we could have took sales. Or even if we would have got another bearish like candle break below this one right here, but we didn't do that. So that was my confirmation that the draws were above. That's why I got in, and we can see price ran, and we continue running up all day. You feel what I'm saying? Really, really good trading today. The ideology behind this was perfect. My execution, we might as well just run through a quick trading template. We might as well just do that shit real fast. Do I got a template? I know I got a template around here. Okay, here we go. All right, so what could we have done better today? The only thing that we could have done better today, quite honestly, is just entering a trade with less fear and the regular size contract that I usually trade. I also could have held a runner if I was going to take the light size. I could have let my runner run, but I'm not used to I'm not used to that, so I just did it. But could have left a runner if I wasn't, or either could have left the runner on with the light size or sized in regularly and closed out my trades. I did get out at a 1 to 3, so I caught all my 90 points before I got out. I can't really complain. Did we let our trade run always to our targeted stop loss to take profit? Yes, but we did scale out as we approached our 1 to 1. I already explained that we got out because we was approaching a supply level, and I kind of didn't know if price wanted to reverse or not. So I just wanted to secure some profit. And we had went on tilt the previous week. We didn't take a trade Monday, so I just needed a mental win for the day. So I kind of got out of some trades early. And I just mentioned why. I mentioned why I scaled out of the trade. The fear hindrance of any success today. Fear of losing profits today. Definitely. Ooh. These bets, y'all. Fear of losing profit today, though, it definitely made me leave some bread on the table. And it's okay, but I just want to make sure I'm aware of it. Right? Something I did well on today, something that what area did I execute better today than my previous trading sessions? How did I get better today despite the outcome of my trades? Okay, I got better today because I was very, very, very patient with waiting on the confluences that I wanted to see line up. I was very, very confident with switching my bias after I saw that liquidity sweep. Like, I just was trading with a lot of conviction today, and even though I didn't make as much money as I would have liked, I'm proud of myself for making a conscious decision to take a lighter size on the trade, being that I was in a new environment and that I wasn't in my usual like zenful space, and I had other traders around me, which made me kind of nervous, and I didn't know how I would react to a loss in front of them. So even though I did take quicker profit and trade lighter, I am, I did better just being, I guess, emotionally aware of where I was at mentally before even stepping into today. So being patient, trading with a boldness and conviction, standing on my setup, standing on how I felt, and not taking no early bait aggressive setups in the macro. Like I took my trade at 10:13, so that means I waited basically the whole macro session to really get into a trade. And I'm really proud of myself for displaying the level of patience and just not rushing it, not having any certain level of desperation today or like a need or anxiety. I think I did really good with that. Any revisions or adjustments that we need to implement to make us a better trade after today? No. Did we take valid trades today? We most definitely took a valid trade. I did adhere to things correctly as far as psychs. I don't know. I would give myself a good B. I give myself a good B today because I had a little bit of fear, and I'm gonna be honest. I had a little bit of fear going into the day. I was anxious because I knew I wasn't trading by myself. So it is what it is. We already went over my trade that I took for today. It was a pro trend. My entry signals, like I already had mentioned, I had got in on an inverse bearish fair value gap with the support of the 1 hour liquidity or the 1 hour bullish fair value gap. Technically, kind of was closed outside, but that's my PDA rate that I used to get in. That's my PDA rate that I used to make my overall consensus of what I thought the market was going to do. This is the PDA rate that gave me like most of my confirmations. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm about to start yapping. How long is this video so far? We 30 minutes in. Perfect time. Y'all got my trading report. Y'all got the whole actual trade. Throw this template in my Discord. Y'all got my mindset behind the trade. So yeah, beautiful trading day. We are on a 6-day win streak right now. We haven't taken, I'll show y'all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're on a 6-day green streak. Been trading better than ever. Been having the best trading performance of my whole life. I'm just going to keep it up. I don't care about continuously seeing green. What I care about is these numbers right here. The 3 trades, 1 trade, 3 trade, 3 trade, 2 trade, 1 trade. I care about keeping out any 3 trades, not over leveraging, not over risking, not blowing my account. So we're doing damn good, better than we've ever done before. We got to get this second account out of drawdown. That was a dumbass mistake I made, and I'm paying for it. And we just gonna continue fucking grinding, bro. Missing our bitch, missing our ex-bitch, not wanting to go get up and keep going to these bullshit ass jobs, just wanting new cars, wanting to be successful, wanting to up the drip, wanting to do all this different shit, having all these dreams, goals, and ambitions in this market, right? But we just gotta keep showing up and keep grinding, put our head down, take this shit one day at a time. So it's BFC trading, man. We're gonna keep working. We're gonna edit these videos. We're gonna keep pushing this content out and just grinding as hard as we can until we get that first payout. And then once we get that first payout, it's to the moon with this shit. So good breakdown. I'll catch y'all on the next one. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we can stay green. If we can't stay green, we for sure gonna stay disciplined and just thank God that he's making this shit possible for us. So let's stay locked in. BFC trading.